The boarding gate screen flashed red. No valid fare. My son's face went white. His wife's mouth dropped open. And me? I was already walking toward my gate with a first-class ticket in my hand. You want to know what happens when you tell someone they're not family? They stop acting like it. Hi there. I'm Margaret. Margaret Sullivan. I'm 67 years old and I live in Phoenix, Arizona. Before we get into this story, I'd love to know, where are you watching from? Drop your city and state in the comments below. I always love connecting with all of you wonderful people out there. Now let me tell you about the day I learned that sometimes the best response to cruelty isn't forgiveness, it's consequences. This happened just months ago, but I remember every single detail like it was yesterday. Some moments brand themselves into your memory, you know? The good ones, the bad ones, and the ones where you finally find your backbone after letting people walk all over you for far too long. I need to give you some background first so you understand how we got to that airport. My husband Tom passed away 4 years ago. Heart attack. One minute he was laughing at something on TV, the next minute he was gone. We'd been married for 42 years. 42 years of building a life together, raising our son Brian, working hard, saving money, planning for retirement we thought we'd share. Then suddenly I was alone in a house that felt too big and too quiet. Brian is our only child. For those first few months after Tom died, Brian was wonderful. He'd call me every day, come over on weekends, help me with things around the house that Tom used to handle. We were close. I thought we'd always be close. Then he met Ashley. Now, I want to be fair here. When Brian first introduced me to Ashley, I tried. I really did. She was 32, pretty, worked in marketing for some tech company. Brian was 38 and absolutely smitten. I saw red flags from the start, but what are you supposed to do? You can't tell your adult son that his girlfriend seems to calculate every word that comes out of her mouth. You can't say that her smile never quite reaches her eyes. You just smile and hope you're wrong. They got engaged after 6 months, married after another 6. And that's when everything changed. It started small. Ashley would make little comments. "Oh, Margaret, you're still doing your hair that way." Or, "Brian, does your mom really need to come to Sunday dinner every week? We need our space." Brian would laugh it off, tell me Ashley was just joking, adjusting to married life. But I saw what was happening. She was pushing me out. Let me give you some examples because you need to understand just how calculated this was. There was Tom's birthday, the first one after he'd passed. I'd been dreading it for weeks. Brian knew how hard it would be for me. He promised we'd spend the day together. The night before, he called, "Mom, I'm so sorry. Ashley planned this surprise Sedona trip. I totally forgot about Dad's birthday." Forgot. His dead father's birthday. Then there was Thanksgiving. I'd hosted for 20 years. That first Thanksgiving after Brian married Ashley, I spent 3 days cooking. Set the table with my good china. Ashley texted me at 10 a.m. Thanksgiving morning. "Change of plans. We're doing Thanksgiving with my parents. They have a chef. Thanks anyway." I sat alone that day looking at a table set for 8, with enough food to feed a dozen. Or the time I fell and sprained my ankle. I called Brian, scared and in pain. "Honey, I need help. Can you come take me to urgent care?" "Mom, Ashley and I are at brunch with her friends. Can't you call an Uber?" An Uber. To take his injured, elderly mother to the hospital. But the worst part wasn't the individual incidents. It was watching my son disappear. The Brian I raised, kind, thoughtful, was gone. In his place was this hollow version who parroted whatever Ashley said, who chose convenience over commitment every single time. By their first anniversary, I was seeing my son maybe once a month, always at my instigation, always with Ashley there, checking her phone, making it clear she had better places to be. The phone calls became shorter, the excuses more frequent. But I'm a mother. You don't just give up on your child. You don't walk away. So I kept trying, kept reaching out, kept showing up with his favorite foods, kept asking about their lives, kept pretending that my heart wasn't breaking a little more each time I saw how much control she had over him. Then in February, I had an idea. A good idea, I thought. A way to reconnect with my son and maybe, just maybe, build a better relationship with Ashley. Tom and I had always dreamed of taking Brian to Hawaii. We'd planned it for his 40th birthday, a big family trip. That birthday was coming up in May, and I had the money. Tom's life insurance, our savings, the proceeds from downsizing to a smaller house. I was comfortable. Not rich, but comfortable. So I called Brian. "Honey," I said, "I want to take you and Ashley to Hawaii for your birthday. My treat, 10 days. We can stay at that resort on Maui your dad and I always talked about. What do you think?" The pause on the other end should have told me everything, but I was too excited, too hopeful. "Let me talk to Ashley," he said. 3 days later, he called back. "Mom, that's really generous. Ashley and I talked and we'd love to go." My heart soared. "That's wonderful. I'll start booking." "But Mom, one thing. Ashley's sister, Brittany, should come too. They're really close and Ashley would have more fun if Brittany was there." I hesitated. Adding another person would significantly increase the cost. But I wanted this trip to happen. I wanted my son back, even if it was just for 10 days. "Sure," I said. "Of course. And Brittany's boyfriend, Kyle. They're a package deal." Now we were talking about 5 people. 5 plane tickets to Hawaii, 5 hotel rooms, 5 people's worth of meals and activities. We were looking at close to $25,000. That was a huge chunk of my savings. "Brian, honey, that's getting expensive." "Mom, if you want this to be a family trip, then Ashley's family should be included too, right? I mean, that's only fair." That word, fair. Like I was being unreasonable for hesitating to spend $25,000 on 2 people I'd never even met. But I said yes. I said yes because I'm a mother, and mothers are supposed to be selfless, right? We're supposed to sacrifice. That's what we do. The booking process was a nightmare. Every decision had to go through Ashley. I'd find a beautiful room and hear back, "Ashley says those hotels are dated. She wants the 4 seasons. $800 more per night. Activities? Ashley says snorkeling is boring. Brittany wants a private yacht day. $4,000. Maybe we could cook some meals to save money? Ashley says she's not on vacation to cook. She wants Mama's Fish House every night." Where appetizers start at $40, every phone call ended the same way. "Mom, you're being so generous. Ashley really appreciates it." But Ashley never called, never texted, never acknowledged that I was draining my savings for her luxury vacation. The week before the trip, I stopped by their house with travel supplies, sunscreen, first aid kit. Ashley answered the door, didn't invite me in. "What are these?" she asked. "Just some travel things." "Margaret," she sighed, "we're not camping. We'll be at a 5-star resort. They have amenities. We don't need your drugstore handouts." She handed the bag back and closed the door. I stood on their porch holding a $20 bag of items I'd bought because I was thinking of them, and I felt something shift, but I pushed it down. We were leaving in 5 days. I just had to get through this. The day of the trip arrived, May 15th. Our flight was at 2 p.m. I got to Sky Harbor Airport at 11:30, 3 hours early, because I'm from that generation where you arrive early for flights. The terminal was busy but not packed. I had all 5 boarding passes on my phone. I'd booked everything, so everything was under my name and my credit card. I was wearing my nice travel outfit, a comfortable navy pantsuit and my pearl earrings Tom had given me for our 30th anniversary. I'd gotten my hair done the day before. I was excited, nervous, but excited. Maybe this trip would fix things. Maybe for 10 days in paradise, we could be a family again. I saw them before they saw me. Brian and Ashley walking through the terminal with Brittany and Kyle. Ashley was wearing head-to-toe designer everything. Gucci bag, Louis Vuitton luggage, oversized sunglasses that probably cost more than my monthly grocery bill. Brittany looked like her clone. Kyle was tall, built, looked like he walked off the set of an MTV reality show. And Brian, my son, he was carrying Ashley's bag along with his own, looking tired already, and the trip hadn't even started. "Brian!" I waved, rolling my modest carry-on toward them. Over here! He saw me, smiled, started to wave back. Then Ashley saw me. I watched her face change. Watched her lean over and whisper something to Brittany. Watched both of them look at me and smirk. That little mean girl smirk that women my age remember from junior high, back when girls were still learning how to be cruel instead of having it down to an art form. I reached them, slightly out of breath. Good morning. Everyone ready for Hawaii? Hey, Mom. Brian gave me a quick, awkward hug. Ashley didn't move. Brittany and Kyle were busy with their phones. Should we check in together? I asked. I have all the boarding passes. We already checked in online, Ashley interrupted. Our bags are checked. We're just heading to security. She said our, like I wasn't included in that group. Oh, well, I can walk with you. Actually, Margaret, Ashley turned to me fully now, her voice loud enough that people nearby could hear. We need to talk about something. Something in her tone made my stomach drop, okay? This seating situation. You booked us all in first class, which is great and everything, but here's the thing. She paused, looked at Brittany, who nodded encouragingly. This is really Brian's birthday trip. His 40th. That's a big milestone. And honestly, it's kind of weird to have his mom sitting right next to us the whole flight. Like, it's kind of clingy? No offense. The terminal noise seemed to fade. I could feel my face getting hot. I paid for these tickets, I said quietly. Right, and that's super generous, Ashley continued, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. But what we're thinking is, maybe you could sit in coach. That way Brian and I can have our space, Brittany and Kyle can have theirs, and you can still come on the trip. Win-win, right? I looked at Brian. Honey? He wouldn't meet my eyes. Mom, maybe she has a point. I mean, you'd be more comfortable by yourself anyway, right? You could stretch out, read your book. I paid $28,000 for this trip, I said, my voice shaking now. I paid for first-class tickets for everyone. I paid for the hotel rooms. I paid for everything. And we appreciate that, Ashley said, waving her hand dismissively. But money doesn't buy you the right to intrude on our vacation. This is Brian's birthday, his special time, with his real family. She emphasized those last two words. Real family. Something inside me cracked. Excuse me? I said. Look, Margaret, I'm just being honest here. You're Brian's mom, okay? That's great. But I'm his wife. Brittany is my sister. Kyle is her boyfriend. We're the people Brian chose to build his life with. You're the past. And frankly, she looked me up and down. Having you hover around us for 10 days is going to be exhausting. So maybe just sit somewhere else on the plane and at the resort, maybe find your own activities, give us space to actually enjoy ourselves. People were staring now. A woman with 2 kids had stopped walking to watch. A businessman was pretending to look at his phone while clearly listening. An elderly couple sitting in the waiting area exchanged glances. I saw the woman shake her head disapprovingly. Ashley, that's a bit harsh, Brian said weakly. But he didn't defend me, didn't tell her she was wrong, didn't step up like a man who loved his mother should. He just stood there, holding her Louis Vuitton bag, looking uncomfortable. I'm just being real, Ashley shot back. Someone has to be. She crossed her arms. Brian, back me up here. Tell your mom she's being clingy. I watched my son's face, watched him try to decide, his mother or his wife, 40 years of love and sacrifice or 3 years of what? What did he see in her that was worth this? Mom, he said finally, not meeting my eyes, maybe it would be better if you had your own space, so you can relax and not worry about keeping up with us. Keeping up with them. Like I was decrepit, like I was a burden. The woman with the 2 kids was still watching. She caught my eye and gave me a look of pure sympathy. Her daughter, maybe 7 years old, tugged on her sleeve. Mommy, why is that lady being mean to the grandma? Shh, honey, the mother whispered, but loud enough for us to hear. Some people weren't raised right. Ashley's head snapped toward them. Excuse me, this is a private conversation. "It's not that private," the businessman at the coffee shop called out. "The whole terminal can hear you." Ashley's face flushed. "Mind your own business." "So are you going to ask the gate agent to change your seat?" Ashley said, turning back to me, trying to regain control. "Or do I need to?" I stood there in my navy pantsuit with my pearls and my modest carry-on, and I felt something I hadn't felt in 4 years. Not since Tom died, not through all the grief, all the loneliness, all the nights crying in an empty house. I felt rage, pure, white-hot, clarifying rage, and something else, something that felt like waking up after a long sleep. Clarity, power, self-respect. "You want me to sit somewhere else?" I said quietly. "Yes," Ashley said. Finally, she gets it. I pulled out my phone, opened my airline app, looked at my reservations. 5 tickets. All booked under my name, all paid for with my credit card, all completely under my control. "You know what, Ashley?" I said, my voice steady now. "You're absolutely right." She looked surprised, pleased, like she'd won. "I'm not part of your real family. You've made that very clear. So you know what I'm going to do?" I started tapping on my phone. "Cancellation. Confirm. Are you sure?" "Yes." 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 "Mom, what are you doing?" Brian asked. I looked up at him. My son. My baby boy who I'd raised and loved and sacrificed for, who was now standing there letting his wife humiliate me in public. "I'm respecting Ashley's wishes," I said. "She said I'm not real family, so I'm canceling all the tickets I paid for. Yours, Ashley's, Brittany's, and Kyle's. You're not my family, so why should I pay for your vacation?" Ashley's face went from smug to confused to panicked in about 3 seconds. "Wait, what?" "The tickets are canceled," I said calmly. "The hotel reservations too. I'm canceling everything, right now." My fingers flew across the screen. Cancel reservation, confirm, cancel reservation, confirm. Each one gave me a little more strength back. "You can't do that," Ashley shrieked. "I absolutely can. I paid for it. It's all in my name, and I'm doing it right now." "Brian, stop her." Ashley grabbed his arm. He looked at me, finally showing some emotion. Fear. "Mom, come on, don't be ridiculous." "Ridiculous?" I said. "What's ridiculous is me spending $28,000 of my savings, money your father and I worked 40 years to build, on people who treat me like garbage. What's ridiculous is me trying to buy my son's love. What's ridiculous is me standing here at 67 years old, being told by a 33-year-old girl that I'm not family." "We can work this out," Brian said desperately. "Ashley didn't mean..." "She meant every word," I said. I'd finished canceling their tickets. Now I was booking a new one, just for me, first class, but not to Maui anymore. And you let her say it. "Where are you going?" Brian asked, watching me type. "Hawaii," I said. "By myself. Well, not completely by myself." I smiled. "Remember Tom's sister, Linda? She's been wanting to visit me since Tom died. I just texted her. She can be here in an hour. She's retired, free, and she actually loves me." "You're taking Aunt Linda?" Brian looked shocked. "I'm taking someone who treats me with respect, someone who actually wants my company, someone who is real family." Ashley found her voice again. "This is insane. You're insane. Brian, your mom is insane." "What's insane is thinking you can treat people however you want with no consequences," I said. I turned to walk away, toward the first-class check-in counter where I could print Linda's boarding pass. "We'll buy our own tickets," Ashley shouted after me. I turned back. "Last-minute tickets to Hawaii? On a holiday week? Good luck. Even if you find something, you're looking at least $3,000 each. For coach, with 3 layovers." I paused. "Oh, and the hotel? It's booked solid." I checked. "You'd need to find somewhere else. Somewhere expensive because it's peak season." I could see the math happening behind Ashley's eyes. She hadn't expected this. None of them had. "You're a terrible mother," she spat at me. "No," I said. "I was a terrible mother. Terrible mothers let their children treat them like doormats. Good mothers teach consequences." I looked at Brian. "I loved you enough to let you make your own choices, even when those choices hurt me. But love doesn't mean accepting abuse. Your father would be ashamed of the man you've become." Then I walked away. My legs were shaking, but I walked. Past the woman with kids who gave me a thumbs up, past the businessman who nodded approvingly, past the cluster of gate agents who'd clearly heard everything and were trying not to smile. I made it to a seat by the window before the tears came. Not sad tears, angry tears, relieved tears. The tears of someone who'd been holding their breath for 3 years and finally exhaled. My phone buzzed. "Brian, Mom, please, we can talk about this." I didn't respond. Another buzz. "Brian, Ashley's sorry, she didn't mean it." I turned off my phone. Linda called on my watch 40 minutes later. "Maggie, I just got your text. Are you serious?" "Dead serious," I said. "Can you make it?" "I'm packing right now. I'll be there in 30 minutes. Margaret Sullivan, I'm so proud of you I could cry." Linda had been trying to tell me for 2 years that Ashley was toxic, that Brian was different, that I needed to stand up for myself. I hadn't listened. I'd made excuses. But not anymore. When Linda arrived, breathless and grinning with a hastily packed bag, I was sitting at the gate with my new boarding pass, first class seat 2A. Linda would be in 2B. We were going to Hawaii. We were going to drink Mai Tais on the beach. We were going to get spa treatments I'd originally booked for Ashley. We were going to have the vacation I'd planned, just with someone who actually deserved it. "Where are they?" Linda asked, looking around. "I don't know," I said, "and I don't care." But then I saw them. About 30 minutes before boarding was supposed to start, Brian, Ashley, Brittany, and Kyle walking toward the gates. They looked stressed. Ashley was on her phone, probably trying to book last-minute tickets. Brittany was crying. Kyle looked annoyed. They walked right past us, didn't even see us sitting there. They went to the customer service desk. I watched Ashley arguing with the agent, her voice getting louder and louder. The agent was shaking her head, probably telling her what I already knew. There were no seats available. Not today. Probably not tomorrow either. Linda squeezed my hand. "You did the right thing." "I know," I said, and I meant it. Boarding was called. First class first. Linda and I stood up, gathered our things, and got in line. That's when Brian saw us. His face went white. "Mom." I looked at him. This man who used to be my little boy, who I'd nursed through chicken pox and driven to soccer practice and helped with college applications, who'd cried at his father's funeral and told me we'd get through it together. "Have a good life, Brian," I said. "You're really going?" He looked devastated. "Without us?" "You made it very clear I'm not part of your family," I said. "So yes, I'm really going. And you know what the saddest part is? If you just treated me with basic decency, basic respect, we could all be boarding this plane together right now. But you chose her. You chose someone who treats your mother like trash. So now you get to live with that choice." Ashley appeared next to him, saw us with our boarding passes, and her face contorted with rage. "This is ridiculous. Brian, do something." "Do what?" I said to her. "What exactly should he do? Force me to give you money? Force me to accept abuse? Force me to be grateful for crumbs of affection from my own son?" I stepped closer to her. "You wanted me out of your family. Congratulations. You got your wish. Now, if you've been watching this far, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Because stories like this, they need to be heard. Women need to know that it's okay to stand up for yourself, even when it's hard, even when it's family, especially when it's family." The gate agent called for us to board. Linda and I walked down the jetway. I didn't look back, didn't cry, didn't feel guilty. We got to our seats, spacious, comfortable first-class seats with plenty of legroom and champagne already waiting. Linda raised her glass. "To Hawaii, to freedom, to self-respect. To knowing your worth," I added. We clinked glasses. The plane filled up around us. I kept expecting Brian to somehow appear, to have figured out a way to get on the flight, but he didn't. Through the window, I could see them in the terminal. Ashley was yelling. Brian looked lost. Brittany and Kyle were arguing about something. And then I saw it. They'd gone to the gate. They had boarding passes. Somehow they must have bought tickets last minute, probably for an insane amount of money. They were trying to board. But when the gate agent scanned their passes, the screen flashed red. No valid fare. The agent called for her supervisor. There was confusion, raised voices. I couldn't hear what was being said, but I could see Ashley's face getting redder and redder. Brian was pulling out his phone, probably trying to show confirmation numbers or receipts. Linda saw it too. What's happening? I think the airline system is showing. They don't have valid tickets, I said. Probably because I canceled the originals so recently, there's some kind of hold or flag on booking new ones under the same names. We watched them get pulled aside, watched the supervisor shake her head, watched Ashley have what can only be described as a complete meltdown in the middle of the airport. That's got to be embarrassing, Linda said. That's called consequences, I said. The door closed. The plane pushed back from the gate. Through the window, I saw Brian standing there, watching our plane leave. He looked small, defeated, sad. Good. The flight to Hawaii was 6 hours of peace. Linda and I talked about everything. Tom, her life in Seattle, my life in Phoenix. We watched movies. We ate good food. We laughed. The flight attendants, when they learned what had happened, brought us extra champagne and chocolate. When we landed in Maui, the warm air hit my face, and something inside me relaxed. This was right. This was what Tom and I had planned. The resort was even more beautiful than the pictures. Our rooms overlooked the ocean, those suites I'd paid $800 extra per night for. Linda and I stood on our balconies watching the sunset, Mai Tais in hand. To Tom, Linda said, he'd be so proud of you right now. We spent 10 days swimming, getting massages, taking helicopter tours, going to Luaus, and eating amazing food. That private yacht day Ashley had insisted I book, Linda and I went on it, just the two of us. We saw dolphins, snorkeled in crystal clear water, laughed until our sides hurt. At Mama's Fish House, Linda and I had one incredible dinner. The waiter, when he learned it was my freedom vacation, brought us complimentary dessert. We took hula lessons, did yoga on the beach, went to farmers markets, spent an afternoon at the spa using those couples massages I'd booked. The massage therapist worked out 3 years of tension from my shoulders. Linda and I reconnected in a way we hadn't since Tom died. We cried together one night on the beach, talking about all the things we missed about him. His laugh, his terrible jokes, the way he loved me unconditionally. He'd want you to be happy, Linda said, not martyring yourself for a son who doesn't appreciate you. I know, I said. I think I finally know. On day 5, I turned on my phone. 63 missed calls, 42 text messages, 3 voicemails, all from Brian. The texts started angry. Mom, this is ridiculous. Then desperate. We're stuck at the airport hotel. We had to max out 2 credit cards. Then reflective. I miss you, Mom. I know I messed up. I just don't know how to fix it. I read them all. Felt something. Not guilt, not victory either. Just sadness. Sadness that it had come to this. I listened to one voicemail, just one. Mom, please, I'm so sorry. Ashley is... I don't know what to say. She's been horrible. You were right about everything. We're still at the airport hotel because we couldn't get flights out until today, and we had to pay for everything, and it's been a disaster. Ashley's barely speaking to me. I miss you, Mom. Please call me back. Please. I deleted it. Not because I didn't love him. I did. I always would. But because love without boundaries isn't love. It's enabling. It's accepting cruelty because you're afraid of being alone. And I wasn't afraid anymore. I sent one text. Brian, I love you. I always will. but I will not accept disrespect. Not from Ashley and not from you. When you're ready to be the man your father raised you to be, when you're ready to choose me as much as you've chosen her, we can talk. Until then, I need space. I didn't hear back. Not that day, not the next, not for 2 months. But here's what happened after that. After Linda and I got back from Hawaii, after I'd posted photos on Facebook of the two of us having the time of our lives, after it became clear to everyone in our family and friend circle what had happened and why, things changed. Brian called. Really called. Not because Ashley told him to, not to try to manipulate me into forgiveness. He called at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. Mom. His voice was rough. I need to talk to you. Can I come over? He showed up 30 minutes later, alone. He looked terrible, like he hadn't slept in days. We sat in my living room, the same living room where he'd grown up, where Tom used to read him bedtime stories. I'm sorry, he said, and then he started crying. Really crying. Mom, I'm so sorry for everything, for the last 3 years, for letting her treat you that way, for forgetting who you are and who I'm supposed to be. I've started therapy, he continued, 3 times a week. My therapist asked me to describe my relationship with you before Ashley. I couldn't finish without breaking down. We used to be best friends, and I let her turn you into some kind of obligation. I've separated from Ashley, he said, 2 weeks ago. The divorce papers are being filed next week. What made you leave? I asked. After the airport, she spent 3 days telling me it was all your fault, that you were crazy, that you owed her an apology. He shook his head. And I'm sitting there, and all I can think about is your face at that airport, the disappointment, the hurt. And I realized she's still doing it, still trying to make me choose. And you chose, I said. I chose myself, he corrected. For the first time in 3 years. I chose the man Dad raised me to be. We talked for 3 hours that night, about Tom, about his marriage, about me, all the times he'd let me down. I'm not asking for forgiveness, he said. Not yet, maybe not ever. I just want a chance to show you I can be better. Then show me, I said, not with words, with actions. We're rebuilding. Slowly. He comes to dinner once a week now. Just him.